Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are represent from Group 1 would like to present about deodorization unit. So first of all, I would like to represent our group members. First of all, we have Sirul Alfa binti Azmi, Nur Shazarina binti Muhammad Shahrizal, Muhammad Hakim bin Nur Syamsul Kamal, and Akif Ilhami bin Azhan. So this is our group members. We are consist of 4 people. So we have Akif, Hakim, Sirul, and Shazal. Next, I will talk about our introduction. So today, I will talk about deodorization unit, which is a very important step in pilot plant refinery process for palm oil. This is actually the last step to make sure we get a very high quality of edible palm oil. The main job of the deodorization unit is to remove unwanted smells, leftover chemicals, free fatty acids, and small impurities that are still present after the earlier refining steps like bleaching. This will help us to make sure the oil is always good quality and safe to eat. Next, the deodorization process uses a hot steam at temperature between 230 to 260 degrees Celsius under a vacuum. The steam helps to remove bad smelling substances and other unwanted parts from the oil. The deodorizer tower has two main sections, which is the top parts remove the free fatty acid and odors, while the bottom parts helps the oil quality stables and lower peroxide values, which is important for shelf life. After deodorization, the oil is cooled and stored, and the byproducts like free fatty acid are collected for other purposes. So now we move on to the purpose of deodorization unit. So the goal of this report is to check on how well the deodorization unit works under normal condition and to see what kind of maintenance it needs. We also want to find out what problem or inefficiencies that might affect the quality of the final product. Besides that, we will suggest ways to make the system work better. This includes making checklists for regular maintenance and also inspection. And we manage the spare parts more efficiently. This step will help the plant to run smoothly for a long time and save more money. Therefore, our study is to aim and give practical recommendation so the pilot plant can enjoy a better product quality, more reliability, and lower cost. This will help the whole palm oil refining process and support the industry. We also look on how at managing spare parts and utilities can improve the plant. By planning a regular inspection and maintenance, we consider both the electrical and non-electrical parts of the plants. This also helps to create a complete and practical maintenance system. Finally, by focusing on inventory, cost control, and supplier management for spare parts, we prepare a students for real-world plant and managing in their future careers. Now, I would like to continue to deodorization unit maintenance checklist. We need to ensure that all the parts of the deodorization unit has been through a maintenance by time. For example, we need to do a maintenance for the item pumps, as example, feed and discharge with a weekly frequency. What we need to check was we need to check for the leaks, noise, and also vibration. Refer to the optimization suggestion in the rubric that has given. This shows that the example of to maintain the efficiency and also the method or process. Other than that, same goes to all other parts which also regarding the optimization suggestion that has stated in the rubric. As we can see, the frequency of different kinds of um different kinds of items has a different frequency of its maintenance. We have weekly, monthly, and also quarterly. All items should be maintained by its type. For example, the item for piping and valves need to be inspected every month, which we need to identify for corrosion, leaks, and blockage. The optimization suggestion we could choose is design and technical problem.
Convenient. Problem that can occur is incomplete order removal. It can cause temperature. That is because of temperature is not hot. Remove for the daily one. Solution for the order removal is to maintain temperature 220 to 260. Next is high FFA, which is because of FFA is not removed properly before entering the deodorization unit, which is degumming. The solution for this is to ensure tight vacuum control to avoid leaking. The problem next is oil blackening. This is because oil becomes stuck after the deodorization. The solution for this is to ensure the process of degumming is very carefully and truly. Next is high steam consumption. Because of steaming is very hard to get, the operational cost is very high. The solution for this is to insulate steam to avoid steam leaking or waste of steam, so it can recovery for the steam. Next is corrosion. This is because of corrosive property that when into the process of the vaporization unit. This is very common for most of the process. That's why we need to use anti-corrosion for the pipeline to avoid corrosion. The last one is heat exchanger fouling, which is heat exchanger that fall with oil residue because of long term using. The solution for this is regularly clean the deodorizer. Deodorizer.
So, we have 5 categories that we follow by the optimization suggestion that has been stated, which is design or technical problem, method or process, material type application, efficiency, and reduce cost operation. For design technical problem, from the maintenance that has been done, we identify that the technical problem has occurred, so we need to redesign the deodorization unit layout to include more accessible inspection ports and removable panels. This improvement will significantly reduce the time required for manual inspection and maintenance. Additionally, improving the insulation designs of the unit will help maintain the thermal efficiency and reduce heat loss during operations. For method of process, the innovation we could do is installing a vibration sensors on motors and flow sensors on pipelines, so we can provide a real-time data to detect problem. This will allow maintenance teams to act before failures occur and also minimizing downtime and extending equipment lifespan. Move to the material type application. What we have observed is the switch needs to be advanced materials such as duplex, stainless steel, or polymer lined pipes in areas that are exposed to high heat, pressure, or corrosive compounds. This material provides higher resistance to wear and chemical degradation and lowering the frequency of replacements and reducing the operational hazard. For the efficiency, we need to improve and implement a feedback control system that automatically adjusts steam flow, pressure, and temperature based on real-time processing requirements. This dynamic control increases the efficiency of the deodorization process by ensuring optimal operating condition, which is reducing energy waste and improving oil product quality. And lastly, to reduce the cost operation, we need to introduce a heat recovery system to utilize residual heat from the deodorizer column and redirect it to preheat incoming feedstock. This will reuse and reduce the need for fresh steam and will decreasing the fuel consumption and lowering energy costs. Additionally, dignitizing maintenance record and integrating them into CMMS can reduce paperwork and improve rescheduling accuracy, along goes with reducing the labor cost.
Okay, so for deodorization unit maintenance detail, there is four different frequency that we need to look, which is daily, weekly, monthly, and annually. So for the first one is daily. For daily, there is this is some activities that need to be done, which is visual inspection and operational check. For visual inspection, you need to do such thing as check the transfer pipe across the unit, whether it is leaking or not, and whether it is can sustain the oil within the piping, and look for the look at the outer area of the deodorization unit to make sure it is clean and always safe. Why? Because we need to make sure safety comes first. Next is the operational checks. We need to make sure that the actual value of the unit itself is the same at the control room and the same at the deodorization unit at the plant. So we don't have miscommunication or even uh, l- wasting time on a problem that does not even exist. Okay, so we move on to the weekly. So for the weekly, some activities is instrumentation checks and component checks. For instrumentation checks, check the piping if there is any leaking and make sure all the controllers and sensor involved, which is the temperature, for the pressure, for the level, is working well. We need to make sure this because we need to save lot as much as possible and gain a lot of. Jap, ulang balik Akif. Ni aku potong Ni weekly, nanti kau ambil balik. Okay. For weekly, there is two activities that need to be done, which is instrumentation checks and component checks. For instrumentation checks, check the piping if there is any leaking of the oil and make sure all the controller and sensors such as temperature controller and sensor, pressure controller and sensor, level controller and sensor is working well. This is because to make sure we do the process itself is working well and to get the better quality of the product itself. So for the component checks, check if there any unusual sound being made in the unit. If there is an unusual sound, you need to you need to secure the area and put a sign and notice to the other worker that there is a maintenance that been done to remove the unusual sound in the unit itself. Okay, so we move on to the next, which is monthly. For monthly, There is two activities that need to be done, which is heat exchanger inspection and deodorization column inspection. For heat exchanger inspection and deodorization column inspection, you need to have the certificate of confined space because you need to check the internal of the unit and the heat exchanger unit to make sure that there is no scaling and fouling that appear inside that can make the process less efficient. So for the last one is annually. So for annually, it is the activity that ya annually ni buat balik apa ni? Okay. The last one is annually. The activities that can be done is mechanical instrument inspection and complete shutdown inspection. For mechanical instrument inspection, test all the instrument and check its electricity and prepare a backup. For for example, prepare a second generator at the plant itself to make sure that all the plant can run even without the main generator itself. Okay, so for the complete shutdown inspection, run the full complete shutdown operation to be fully prepared in case of emergency. So this is a safety measure to help all the worker to practice safely and can handle any situation given any situation that dangerous at any time. So that is why we need to do complete shutdown inspection biannually because we did not want to we did not want the process itself is lacking, but we must salah complete shutdown ulang balik so for complete shutdown inspection, run the full complete shutdown operation to be fully prepared in case of emergency. So this is one of the safety measurement that been applied to the plant itself to make sure all the worker can work there safely. Okay, that is the unit maintenance detail. So now we will go through to the troubleshooting. So for the deodorization unit troubleshooting, this is the problem that will occur on the deodorization unit. So for the first one is the problem is poor quality oil, overheating and unusual odor. So for the first one is poor quality oil. There is two possible causes for this problem, which is insufficient temperature and high FFA content at feed. To remove the first possible causes, which is insufficient temperature, we need to make sure the heating device can reach the optimum temperature, which is 220 to 260 degrees Celsius, which need to be done by the maintenance management to make sure all the instrument can work properly on the optimum operating condition. So for the second causes, which is the high FFA content at feed, the action that we need to be taken to to solve this problem is to make sure the feed oil will be undergoing double pre-treatment process before go into the deodorization unit. This is surely will increase the cost of the process itself, but it will also increase the quality of the oil. So for the second problem, which is overheating, there is also two possible causes for this problem to happen, which is sensors and controllers error and low performance of heat exchanger. So for the first causes, which is sensors and controllers error, the action that we need to be taken is to calibrate all the instrumentation and replace it if it broken and not working well. We need to we need to replace it as soon as possible because we need to minimize our costs and losses. So for the second causes, which is low performance of heat exchanger. This is because the internal of the heat exchanger itself is fouling or scaling. So we need to have a professional which has the certificate of confined space to check the internal of the heat exchanger and take action as soon as possible. So for the last problem, which is unusual order, there is also two possible causes, which is incomplete deodorization and degraded quality of feed oil. This is the same possible causes as the first problem, which is the poor quality oil. So for the incomplete deodorization, we need to adjust all the parameter to the optimal value such as temperature to 220 to 260 degrees Celsius and pressure is 2 to 5 mmHg, which is vacuum pressure. This is to make sure all the FFA inside the deodorization unit is be is well being eliminated. So how to do the action is to maintain all the parameters and all the instrumentation and equipment that responsible for these parameters to work well. So how to make it work well is to maintain them in every possible way. So for the second causes, which is degraded quality of feed oil, this is happen same as the causes of the high FFA content at feed, and the same action will need to be taken, which is make the oil go to the double pretreatment before going into the odorization unit. Of course, it will increase our cost, but it will increase the quality of the final product of the oil itself, so we can sell it and we can use it for the future purpose and we can sell it at higher price. Thank you.
Next part is spare part strategy, which consists of the classification of spare parts, supply management, record keeping system, and also cost management. So, spare part strategy is to maintain the right number of materials and also the consumable materials which meets the production needs. In the odorization unit, there are few components that are very highly used in the deodorization unit, such as filters, heat exchanger, and vacuum pump system. These components are highly required to have their spare parts ready to ensure that if any of downtime occurs, it can be prevented from the downtime to occur. So next is the classification of the spare part. So the spare parts classified into three, which is critical, consumable, and also non-critical spare parts. So for the critical spare parts, these spare parts are required for continuous operation, which when there are no spare parts available, it can cause immediate shutdown of the deodorization unit. The next is the consumable spare parts. These spare parts need to be replaced regularly due to wear and tear, such as gasket. And lastly is the non-physical spare parts, which has very high cost and is used infrequently and requires early planning. The next is the supplier management. So the supplier management requires long-term agreement with the supplier. It is to ensure that the reliability of the supplier and easy to contact and also to ensure that the continuity of supply of the spare part. Next is considering local and international supplier by considering the price, their delivery time, their quality of the spare parts. And lastly is approved supplier list. So these lists are based on performance, quality, and on-time delivery. The next is good record keeping system. So for the good record keeping system, there should be a maintenance log, which can link the replaced parts and the equipment history And next is digital inventory system. So, for example, it's by using enterprise resource planning (ERP) to manage the tracking inventory, and also the computerized maintenance management system (CMMS) that can ensure accurate stock counts and easy information access for the manager. And lastly is cost management. So for cost management, it is highly encouraged to purchase in a bulk so it can obtain discount when having a large. So for the cost management, it is highly encouraged to purchase in a bulk order. It is for to obtain the discount when there are high amount of spare parts ordered. So next is by using ABC analysis. So this analysis is for ensuring that the items such as A item, which indicates that only 20% of the total inventory items, B item, which is 30% of the total inventory item, and it is for medium consumption value. And lastly is the 50% of the total inventory item, which is for C item, and it has the smallest annual consumption value. So this analysis we can use it to classify each of the spare part items to ensure that there are no extra or additional items that were buy and can reduce the cost of extra buying. Apa you cakap? So for the cost management, by using, all right, so for the cost management, first of all, it's highly encouraged to purchase in bulk order. This to ensure the discount which leverage the volume order. And next is by using ABC analysis. So ABC analysis classify the items according to the total inventory item. So it can reduce the amount of spare parts that needs to buy and only buy the most essential one and having a small value or a small amount of spare parts when the item itself is not highly consumed. So for the conclusion, through detailed maintenance planning and analyzing of the troubleshooting and having a good strategy for spare part. This study has demonstrated that the quality of the product, the plant reliability, are linked to systematic management that can ensure that it has a high efficiency of operational. So when having the annual maintenance schedule, it can show that it can minimize the downtime, that can ensure the safety of the employer and also optimizing the performance of the deodorization unit. Next is the troubleshooting method. Also address the common performance issues that identify the root cause, such as temperature imbalance and steam pressure errors, while proposing corrective actions to ensure that all those errors would not be occurring again or can be prevented. So lastly, the deodorization unit can be optimized fully by supported with the structural maintenance and engineering solution. That's all from us. So that's all from us. Thank you. So that's all from us. Thank you.